Welcome to The Advocate, a program that thrashes out all the topical issues of the day.
When you are in government, you don't see nothing wrong with whatever is happening. The moment you are out there, everything is wrong.
You can't even see many women now, and when they're there, they're not even really making a mark, and then they have an NYSC problem and this and that.
One of the reasons why we don't have more women in politics in Nigeria is for as long as political meetings continue to take place in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Really?
Disastrous for a president
To even say
to be
he's unaware.
unaware of the chief
It's
justice.
a ploy. It could be a strategy.
That strategy was very,
Backfired.
very terrible strategy. Because the buck stops at your table.
Whether it's that we don't look after our cities, and quite frankly, Nigeria is becoming a very ugly place.
When you are the only one feeding the people with this news and there is nobody countering them, it becomes, the news.
What is your purpose? Why are we here? If today was your funeral, what would the people milling around say about you? Be judged not by the number of dollars I made, but by the number of lives I made better. You can find purpose in your talent or that which you love, and you can also find purpose in your pain. I was at a friend's funeral a few days ago, and I was amazed at the stories people shared about her. She had impacted their lives. Her staff talked about how rather than lead, she raised leaders. Her family shared how she was ever present for everyone. The professional bodies she belonged to were not left out. They shared stories of her commitment and selflessness. She left a legacy of doing what she loved. Muniba Mazari, at the age of 21, was involved in a car accident that left her paraplegic. She was depressed and almost committed suicide, but in her pain, she found art. Through art, she was able to express her anguish, and by this caught the attention of art enthusiasts who promoted her works. She ended up as a motivational speaker who encouraged people around the world that despite your challenges, you can still achieve your dreams. A disabled girl from Pakistan, now inspiring women and physically challenged people to find their abilities in their disability. Leaving a legacy is not so much about the money you give out. It is having the sense of giving back, sharing knowledge or skill, or even words of encouragement and motivation, ensuring that whoever comes in contact with you goes back with something. You can decide how you want to be remembered today.
Thank you, Saidu. I think that this is very personal. This particular advocacy I really like, because I think it also harkens back to all that we've talked about today. It's about having a sense that you're not alone, and you should care for others, and you should look out for the interests of others. I for one find that it is something that I've kind of grown up, being very sensitive about, to the point where it became pretty much like an albatross, where you're always trying to be good, no matter the circumstances, but you're trying it in an environment where people want to always know that you're good, so they want to take advantage. And I had this very concerning, and I'll share this. So someone, where I worked in an office a few years ago, I overheard some people making a comment. I was in a bathroom, so I could hear people, someone who had done something wrong in my office, and someone saying, it's not Emeka, okay, Emeka. Once you just tell him, I'm sorry, he will just forgive you now. Just go there, guy. I felt, extremely
Humiliated?
almost like I felt
You felt powerless.
Betrayed.
I felt betrayed, powerless. I felt that used,
You didn't feel as respected.
and like clockwork. This person walked into my office and said, I'm sorry, sir. So here I am now, trying, with that knowledge, trying to not agree, but it was taking me a lot of energy to be different, to be the person that I'm not.
Exactly.
So I just smiled at him, and I told him exactly what, and I said, no problem, you're forgiven. But I shared
what you knew.
what I overheard,
Absolutely.
and the person became very emotional, because that was the only way I could draw something out,
Correct. Yeah.
was to do that. Because I find that, yes, I think that the number one thing though is that we, and it's not just about money, it's about being sensitive. I talked earlier about that enlightened self-interest, because it's in your interest. It's the same thing about caring for the population, for the people. And if the people are doing well, you are allowed to do better.
Exactly.
But if the people are not doing well and you just want to extract for yourself, I think ultimately everybody goes down. So I think that the issue of legacy is something that, I mean, I was, funny enough, I was driving here this morning and I was just thinking about something like this.
Yeah.
I had a harrowing flight yesterday from Enugu.
You said thinking of the afterlife.
A few moments in that flight, I was thinking, so if this goes down now, how would you like to be remembered?
Yes.
And that, so this, on the drive here this morning, I actually thought about that. But I absolutely think that it is something that we need a lot more advocacy about leaving a legacy, and so that when you pass, that people, when they come to your wake, that they're happier rather than sad or angry.
I want to identify with what you said. I feel a sort of kinship, because I understand that, because a lot of times that's the impression people have about me, that, oh, this person is a good person. And then at times you're wanting to be different because you don't want to be so taken for granted. But actually what I realize about this whole legacy thing, because I find when people say, oh, I want to leave a legacy, and sometimes people are too conscious of leaving a legacy, I feel it goes against the spirit of leaving a legacy.
It's more about ego.
Yeah, you're more about me. It's all about you now instead of the people you're impacting. So I like the example you gave of this lady, and people will remember her for raising leaders, not so preoccupied with being a leader herself, but with raising leaders. So I think leaving a legacy, when it's really coming into its own, is when you are just being true to your convictions. Because when I looked at it, a lot of times when people abuse, and I can see they're abusing or taking advantage of who I am expressing myself to be, I tried to reinvent myself because I hate that. But my husband said, just be yourself. So if you're convinced about something, that's leaving a legacy, live it out. Don't worry what people say when you're there. You'll be dead, because it's all about just being true to your convictions.
To yourself, true to yourself.
Go on.
Yeah, I was just thinking the other day about in the 80s and maybe 90s, the attitude Nigerians had to helping out, I think, may have been problematic. This is even before Saidu's topic ever came to me. I look back, I thought of Abiola, and when he gave 10 million naira each to universities, about, I don't know how many there were, maybe 20 or 15. And then we'll move on, and Abiola would donate another 100 million somewhere, and he would just keep donating money. And I look back and I thought, maybe we had missed road at that time. Even Abiola had missed road, even if his intentions were like what Saidu is saying. And it had gotten to a point where we were doing things almost automatically on autopilot, just giving this money. He never stopped, for instance, to really say, maybe I should stop giving 100 million everywhere. I'm going to deal with education. Okay, these universities, I give 10 million. I'm going to sit with each of them a week or so and find out what happened with my 10 million, because I want to give them 90 more each. And then he would have impacted education. But there was some, then, I don't know, we're just all excited. I remember I used to be very excited. This man has just 10 times 12, that's 120. I wasn't sure whether I was really getting into the spirit of Abiola helping.
All right, so there are just 2 points I really want to make regarding leaving a legacy. I think it's just in the way we relate to one another. A lot of people think it's all about leaving some huge company or leaving this or no, it's not actually. It's just in our relationships, our dealings with people. So if we understand that, then maybe it won't be such a big deal when you talk about leaving a legacy. It's really just the way we ought to live. Secondly, I also think that the values that we're promoting today against the values we were promoting yesteryear, the reason that's why people are not concerned about leaving a legacy. It's more about, let me grab what I can. And many people also, another thing is the God factor. I don't think a lot of people believe in all this life after death and all of that anymore. No, truly. Because if they did, there might be some reverence, there might be some fear of how you live today will impact your eternity or whatever, but none of that is in place. So I think there's so many things fighting against this leaving of legacy. But if we break it down and understand that it's little relationships, the relationships that we have with people, that's really where our legacy is, then it might make life a lot easier.
Well, I certainly learned a thing or two from that discussion. Chuka further interrogates our value system after the break.